fashion designers such as Kim Jones, Simone Rocha, Craig Green, Maximilian Davis, and many others. So can you tell us what stands out to you when it comes to fashion designers, what it is that you look for in them?
So obviously I'm looking at a lot of talent all through the year, and especially when we open applications for fashionees. And I think what always stands out to me is somebody who knows who they are, is not pretending or trying to be something that they're not. So they're very comfortable and sure in themselves. And it's not even that kind of outward confidence, it's just like, if you question them, like, why did you design that? They can explain. So they've really like worked out what they're trying to do, what message they're trying to say through their fashion. And as well as that kind of self-knowledge, I think they all have one thing in common, which is ambition, really. And it can start small and then grow as they grow in confidence, or they can just be somebody like Jonathan Anderson, J.W. Anderson, who's at Loewe, who I think has that natural confidence from the very minute he started. So the same, I would say Kim Jones has that very, lots of drive, self-confidence, and yeah, the natural talent. It's, as you're looking through everybody's portfolios, it's just quite clear to me. And I think most people, if they were to look at all the portfolios I look at, I don't know how to describe the common thread, but it always jumps out for me.
That's amazing. Can you just break it down for us exactly what Fashion Week does?
I like to stay in the background. I'm not that main character energy. I like to be in the background, pushing my designers to be the main character. It's funny. It's a funny name that they've given me, the fairy godmother, because I can't make or force those designers to do the work, to make the right decisions. I can only encourage them, pass on my knowledge, and hope for the best and encourage them, but really it's up to them, isn't it? I can't make magic happen.
Absolutely. You mentioned for my previous question in terms of what you look for in a designer, but in terms of talent, of course, like you said, when you see it or when you see them, then you know what it is. Again, going back to your instinct. But I'd like to know, in terms of like character, what type of people do you like working with?
Over the years, I've worked with so many different people with different personality types, and people from different backgrounds. Some struggle a lot more with the role of being the designer, and sometimes I even suggest to people, would you not be happier working in a big team at a big house on a nice salary? Because it takes a lot to have your own brand. As some of you may know, it's a lot of pressure, all eyes on you. When it goes well, everyone's like, great, and when it's, you're having a hard time, there's nowhere to hide. It's something that I worry about with our young designers, that we put them on the stage before they're ready. So we try to be very careful who we choose, when we choose to put them on the platform, because it's a lot of eyes. So sometimes we say to people, we love your work, but please go away and let's help you put a team together and prepare for the season after. Not this season, you're not ready. So we do a lot of that.
And in terms of, again, the work that Fashion Week does, how unique is your organisation in terms of incubating, supporting these designers? Are there a lot of organisations like that, especially in the UK? And how important is it that Fashion Week exists?
I think it's very important, and that's always been what the designer tell me. And when they say, if one day they stop saying we're important or relevant, and I'll stop doing it, because I'm doing it for them as much as me. So yeah, there are some good organisations. We're one of the ones that actually give people money, because there's a lot of companies now that are starting to give back, especially since 2020. There's been a lot of people saying let's help diverse backgrounds, and giving a small grant can help, I think, a lot. So sometimes people don't need a show, they need mentoring, so they need legal advice. So I mean, there are some good organisations coming through, and our one is the main one that helps people get to the British Fashion Council support scheme. So we're like the stepping stone between university and the main, British Fashion Council.
Yeah, okay. And I was going to ask you about the other support that you give the talent, such as, your network, also just like business skills or like finance skills. How important is it for designers to understand that side of the industry?
It's so important. I mean, some designers feel it might be the boring, non-glamorous side of what they do, but I just say to them, if you will just please sit and listen maybe with a really experienced buyer, look at your collection, look at your prices, have a chat about your manufacturing, then maybe we can save you some really hard lessons. Because nobody really creative might want to sit down and actually have to look at the numbers and be told you're going to run out of money in 3 months. It's not nice, is it? But also you have to face those realities if you're running a business. If you're being a designer to raise your profile to then go and get a fabulous job, then you probably don't need to worry so much about the business side. Or, you might diversify from being a designer into being a stylist. I've seen that happen. So there are different routes. But if you want to be a designer and have a brand, you've got to look at the business, or have somebody on your team, if you can make that happen, that takes care of that side of it, so that you can just do the fun creative. That's very rare to find, though.
That person who can support you.
It's the dream person that everybody's trying to find. That and somebody that can manage all the production, actual clothes, which is also a big headache. At least in the UK, I'm not sure if everywhere it's the same, but in the UK, especially since Brexit, we have a lot of problems.
So I do want to open up the floor to questions. So maybe we'll just take a little bit of a break from my questions and see if anybody has any questions in the audience at the moment. Or if you want to get yourself, maybe I'll just give you a heads up to let you know that I will be opening up for questions. So if you have questions, please get them ready. But we do have one at the front here, and we have another one at the back actually, and one over there, and one over there. Okay, we have a few questions. Do we have a microphone for the audience, please? That would be easier for someone to get onto them. Or you want to use mine? Do we have someone to give them the microphone, please?
The oceans now.
Hi. Can designers have multiple seasons at Fashion East, and if so, how many times can they do it?
Yes, some designers will be ready to fly the nest, as I call it, after 1 or 2 seasons, but there's some quite exceptional designers, Maximilian Davis, for example. Other designers might need the full 3 seasons that we give of support, and sometimes even 1 extra. So one of our very famous alumni, Martine Rose, probably came back to work with us in different guises for about 6 or 7 seasons until she finally broke through, because it wasn't, I feel, until she got the job with Balenciaga that people understood her greatness, because she was quite unusual, niche menswear, not your typical glamorous women's wear, and it took some time. So sometimes, we will stand by designers for longer than usual to help them make the jump.
So there isn't a set period of time for each designer if you want them to be returned at that time. Okay, thank you. We have another question at the back. There's a gentleman in a grey suit at the back. If we can get a question from there, please. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Really nice to meet you and hear your story, really great. What I would like to know is if Fashion East is open to Nigerian designers as well.
Actually, until now, we've only operated in the UK because we're a very small team with small resource. I know from the outside, Fashion East may seem a big organisation, but it's actually really not. So We have limited ourselves to working with UK-based designers for logistical reasons. Actually, this season we just had somebody from LA who came as a guest designer, not on the runway. She's actually a footwear designer, Kitty Shipman. So we did a static presentation with her, and that was actually our first international guest.
Thank you. I hope that answered your question. So hopefully Lagos and Nigeria will be on your radar soon. Yeah, that would be awesome. Okay, let's take one more question and then we'll come back to my questions and then we'll open up the floor again. There was somebody on this side. Where's the lady with the microphone? We will come back to questions. So if you don't get your question asked now, please just keep it ready because we will come back. Thank you. Can you stand up so we can see you? Thank you.
Hi. Yeah. So, is there a criteria for being scouted as a designer?
Yeah. Is there a criteria for being scouted as a designer?
We actually have very, very flexible, open criteria. We base it on what people are asking. On when you apply online, there's a selection process of static, runway, photography, lookbook, or film. Those are our usual 4 areas that or ways that we present design as well. So if somebody is applying for catwalk, but I can see that their work is too, unready, then obviously they won't come through for catwalk, but we might consider them for photography or lookbook or something. We like to take it easy with people, but we don't have strict criteria like you must make 20 outfits, you must have one stockist, or you must have this many followers, or you must have gone to university. It's a lot more flexible than that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go back to my questions and then we'll open it up with the audience again. It'd be great to get